When the world gets in my face, I say, have a nice day. Have a nice day.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:34. I hope everyone's feeling well. Had a great weekend. I know I was off the desk since like Thursday afternoon. I was headed to Montauk for my five family extravaganza, which is awesome. It's good to get away, good to get to the beach or the mountains with families and friends and make some memories with the kids. It's awesome watching them grow up. Relationships matter. But anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com and founder of Red Dog Mindset. But guess what? From the road, you could trade. There are a lot of people that don't trade for a living. A lot of people that actually trade um, all with their job. Like they have a job and they find guys like me that have products that could help them make money additionally to whatever it is they do full time. So we have products for that. So while I was on the road, which I was, we had a lot of nice power plays go out that made people a lot of money. Besides, I was navigating through the trade desk where the Alpha team gets to see what I do live. And it was a really good week. It's great to be on the beach and make some money. You know, if you look here at the Spies kind of held where they had to, let the 8-day catch up a little bit. So for this week, I think you could be, as long as we hold 767 and go sideways, we're building a nice bull flag to take out 776.85. You know, the Qs broke the downtrend. Remember, gave you a gap up and also digesting above the downtrend line, probably on its way to take out the highs there. You know, looking really good. Some people are like, well, what did I have out as a power play from the road? Well, if you remember, I said it here too at the 630 Club. You know, sometimes I post these videos just to remind everybody that like seat time matters, experience matters. And I remember when I did trade the the Facebook IPO back in the day, and it was a disaster. Everyone was so enamored by it and chased it and got their asses kicked. Excuse my French, but they did, and then it failed the first day, and this and that, and all of a sudden, when it was at $20 or something in that area, I think Barron's came out that weekend and said $10, and the lockup, everyone was all scared, and then P.S. It opened down that day, and within 30 seconds, I never saw another down day. So last week, I'm like, I think the same thing's going to happen with SpaceX from 210 all the way down to 110. Everyone's so scared of the lockup, which a lot of them were employees. And by the way, management can see when employees sell their shares and they don't like that. So anyway, you know, on the Alpha team, what did everyone start seeing me do? So when we're like 110, I sold $90 puts for like $3-4. I sold $95 puts. These 95, I sold three different sets of puts saying I'll own this thing below 95. And I also bought the stock, which I'm still in, shows overnight. I think I bought it around 110. And, you know, we sent out a power play, me telling you what to do. You don't have to decide. It's just something I tell you what to do. Anyway, if you go here, SpaceX is now up another 3. I would be trimming. I might actually even get out of my SpaceX, the rest of it today and cover the puts I sold for peanuts and wait for some type of move. This is what I have on. You know, I started to manage a lot of positions from the road, not a lot, a little. You know, gold, look at it. We had 385 puts. I mean, calls. Bought them for 4. I think I sold them for 16 from the road. Tesla from the road. NVIDIA, I think I rolled up 3 different times. It was just a good week, knock on wood. So that was last week. This is this week. Let's stack some days. I do think that things can continue this week. We'll see, again, just like last week, if the Qs could hold above 708 and continue to go sideways at some point, it takes out 728 to goes to the upside. You had a lot of pro earnings gap plays that people made good money with. Palantir, remember those options we had on? They were gorgeous. This is like a textbook. This was your textbook, pro earnings gap play where you could have been long versus 141, okay, came in a little bit and then added to it when it cleared 163.70. We had options on that did fantastic. If I was at my desk, I probably would have bought Palantir to do. Same thing, Microsoft. Microsoft did the same thing. Big pro earnings gap, gave you another one, and then hit a high of what? This is 505. Little extended, but again, same type of strategy. If you're not at your desk, there are swing trade strategies that work, and if you use a tier system, you can make even more. So anyway, this was one gap to trade against, and this was another. And if you were in it versus this, you got paid. Wow. Just like that, Microsoft went from downtrending, double top, dead money, which it was, to a gap and go reborn. Some stocks are reborn, and then you can stay with them and you can go with them, and they're obviously they're great. Not in ASTS or Poet. You know what? I sold puts on ASTS, and it got taken, and it just expired. I kept all the premium. Someone asked me, why am I not in ASTS? I should be. I should have been. But right here, I was selling $55 puts, getting paid like $4. So that was the way I did it. And we did say we hit a short-term bottom, and it looks like it's working its way to take back all these moving averages. But yeah, so unfortunately, it hasn't really done a whole lot yet. But I sold puts in that, and I sold puts in Rocket Labs. Nice little bottom. It liked when SpaceX had its bounce. Right here was pretty much the candle that could have got you in when it reclaimed the 8-day. If you use the 8-day moving average, you could have got out at 95 and could have got back in at 68, saved yourself some money, especially if you should have been out since like 110. But anyway, it's kind of working its way higher. I'm not in that. I just didn't feel like being bothered with those things. So sometimes when I want to be bothered, I sell puts, collect premium, and stay off the desk. And not a lot of people know how to do that, but you got to learn. Someone said, what do I think of Amazon? I think Amazon at this point, I think Jeff has sold enough shares. You have 262 to trade against, or you have 270. I sold puts last week in Amazon also. I think I might go out and buy some 290 calls, or buy some shares versus area, because Amazon's been here long enough, in my opinion. Digesting. It's only up 90 cents. It's been out of play. People are getting annoyed with it. I think Jeff sold what he was supposed to sell. So I do think that Amazon could be something, that does pay you better. You had your big move from down here, so it has to absorb it. So you could be long versus 270, and at some point, maybe it takes out the highs here. So this is something that's going to go from first of all, I went back to the A-list. We had a call spread on, a really nice call spread. I had the 240, a beautiful call spread. No, I'm kidding. 245 versus 250, 750, and we maximized it. First time we maximized the call spread in Amazon in a while. So that was really good. Thoughts on Help? Would you be selling after a 4-day move, or do you still think it has room? Sam Stevens always asks me about Help, which is one of those mushroom type plays. Great play. I was telling you guys about this down here. I think a few of my friends own a few million shares. Yeah, day count rules. Hopefully you bought some here, added there, trim. Yeah, I would definitely be selling some. I would not be adding to Help. Congratulations. What a nice move. Anyway, with that being said, you want me to frame your trade with V? That's what I do. I frame trades for a living. I help people figure out how they could approach a trade based on their time frame. So V, yeah, it looks like I've had a pretty not a bad day, but not a great day on Friday. It's had a decent sized move. It's a little choppy. I never really trade Visa, because it doesn't really trade well. I guess you had a decent sized move. I would say as long as Visa holds 359, you could be in it. There's no real power, but it's acting well. It's I would just say, hey, if you think you're going to miss a move to take out the all-time high of 375, I would just go out a month and buy like the 375 calls, because again, it seems like it's just a very choppy trade. So Tesla, yes, Red Dog made some good money in Tesla. Last week from the road, I was a buyer of Tesla. Did not hurt me at all. Did not cause any pain. I think I was a buyer of options somewhere in here. Then it had a nice move. I have a feeling it's going to try and fill this gap this week. So keep Tesla on the radar. This is 333.33. This is 342. There is a big gap here. It still has done absolutely nothing. If you look at my virtual trading floor, what do I have on? I didn't put this on as a power play. I didn't think it would be. It was a lower level catch up trade. I still have some. I just trimmed a little Tesla, I think. Yes. So what you could do is but the way the alpha team can watch and do things that I do, I came in. I bought Tesla. I bought more Tesla on the close from Montauk on Friday. Nice. And now today, I just sold a little bit. Why did I sell a little bit of Tesla? Because it's up 250. I always sell a little bit. I'm also in some options, which I bought really well. I bought the 340s just in case it wants to fill the gap, so I have a week. So I bought those first because the stock wasn't acting well, and then I bought the stock when it started acting well. And I did not put it on as a power play because to me, it's not a power play; it's a catch-up play, and I don't know if it's just a trade for a few days or if there's going to be a sequence there. But anyway, so Tesla, is working pretty well. But still, if you've been in it for a year or two, you're not really happy. There's been absolutely no traction. If you bought Tesla in May of 2025, you're underwater. If you bought it here, it's just still just trying to work through the excess. Can you explain the DGXX trade I just put on it? In under $4 because it was a decent stock a month and a half ago, but then all the super growth names got hit hard. I stopped myself out. So I just put a little bit back on because a few of my friends still like the story. So we had it here, sold a little bit, sold more, and then we got stopped out around 7:45. That's when it lost momentum. So I was like, you know what, down here, market's acting pretty well. I know it pretty well. I feel comfortable. It's going to be just a broken bounce trade, maybe to 480. So this is not like I wouldn't be. I'm not trading this for a living. If I have 15 positions on and I want to put another position on, this to me down here was something to do, not something to focus on, something to do. So if that helps you, Steve. Apple, I'm not really. I actually caught a decent trade in Apple into the gap, but again, this is kind of broken. I wonder how it's acting. There is some chatter out there that they're trying to get memory from what's it called, from whoever, from China, and I guess they don't like that. Wow, it's down 4 and change. I'm glad I'm not in any Apple, right? No Apple. I had it on as a stock and options for a potential, fill the gap trade, and then I just got out of it into the gap up, and right now down 450 at 308. What's this level here? It's already below it. So I didn't see any news come out. All I saw over the weekend was that they're looking into getting cheaper memory from China. Anyway, so sometimes you look at Apple doing this. So what's memory doing? Hanging in there. Anyway, so we'll see what happens there. Jeffrey's downgraded Apple. So if it's only a downgrade, whatever. What else? IBM. IBM has a gap above to fill. It's a broken trade, but there's a setup, right? We look for setups. We don't look for tops. We don't look for this isn't going to end well. We look for setups, and this got killed. Gave you a push below this 204, did a red dog reversal. You could have been long here versus the low. That's one way to do it. And then since then, it's been working its way higher from a lower level. Not so horrible. There's probably some room above. Software got better, so not so bad. Again, you have to have a reason you're in a trade. And people are like, Red Dog, where do you put your stop? I'm like, well, when the reason I'm in a trade is invalidated, that's where I use my stop, not based on 1% of a loss or 2% of money. It's just the trade change. So a lot of that has to do with like these pro earnings gaps. So like just say Amazon. I'm going to frame your Amazon trade. You could buy shares and you can say, hey, I'm going to buy it versus 270. As long as it holds 270, I'll stay in Amazon. Some of you guys say, hey, I'm friggin', I'm in the beach in Montauk. I don't want to be so tight. I want to give it to the pro earnings gap at 262. So that gives it a little bit more leeway. Then some of you might say, hey, you know what? I don't feel like being bothered managing shares. I just wanted to break above 287. I don't know when it's going to happen. So I'm going to go buy, 285 by 295 call spread, not this Friday, next Friday. You do it however you want. There's lots of different ways to do it. But when the reason you're in a trade changes, you better get out of the way. CRM. Broken trade, working back to the 200-day. Nothing so special there. But again, there was some money off the lows. Nothing great. Pepsi looks like I remember when this was in this. It was March when everyone was like, "Oh my God, look at Pepsi!" And it's been I don't know, it just doesn't do anything for me. I don't think I've had a Pepsi since 1986. I might have had one Diet Pepsi like 3 years ago when I was traveling from basketball game to basketball game. But anyway, Oracle. Little broken bounce. This looks pretty good right here, to be honest. I think that this could work towards a 200-day. I'll frame the trade for you. Let Red Dog do the framing. I can frame trades, not houses. I'm so not handy. So you had your one move when it cleared this lower level, took back the 8-day. Nice little trade if you use the 8-day moving average like I do. Then it started an active sequence. Now it's say you could be long versus 138. Be long versus 138. That would be your out. If you're in it because you think this active sequence continues to the upside, and then you can add to it if it gets above 148.70. 148.70 is right here, 148.70, right there. So you could use a tier system. Yes, I've coined the tier system. In long tier 1 versus 138, get to tier 2 when it clears and holds 148.70 for a move to maybe the 100 or the 200 day. There you go. What's Oracle doing? Is it up a lot? Did they take the trade away? It's up $1.25 already. So if you're in it already versus level, that's your spot. And if you're going to add to it and buy high and sell higher, which I love to do, which is kind of tricky at times, that's right here, 148.70. And then there's room there. So guys, listen, 649. Some people like, Red Dog, what did you mean by your cryptic tweet that you should subscribe above if you're not subscribed to the Red Dog Mindset? Otherwise, you might lose the 630 Club. Well, there's a lot of things that are going on. But anyway, I will be at my desk all week this week. Usually 630 Club's Monday through Thursday for free. If you enjoy the 630 Club and you've made money and you've been in here since 2020, what you should do is subscribe above to the Red Dog Mindset. You get the 20 to 520, the workout, which you just did in the morning. If you don't have a sauna, that's fine. No sauna, no problem. You could have a mat. You could have a towel. You could be on a treadmill. You could just want to hear some of my thoughts and listen to some. Today we did 90s music. But at some point, I really might take the 630 Club and make it just subscriber only because there's so many damn bots on Twitter and X, and there's so many people that take your tweet and retweet it 100 different ways. I'd rather just have, listen, for $10 a month. Like I said, this is $5 a day, $10 a month. I could see you. You're a subscriber. I know you're for real. I know that you're a real guy adding value. By the way, if you're a member of the Alpha team or anything that T3 does, you will never, ever, ever lose a 630 Club. But if you don't trade for a living, and if those products are a little too expensive, Red Dog Mindset is more of the mindset behind the trade, the early morning preparation, which goes through the 630 Club. And you should subscribe above, get grandfathered in. Otherwise, you might try and look for the 630 Club like some people did on Thursday. And I was in Montauk. Where's the 630 Club? I can't do my day without Red Dog. Well, I was away from my desk. And if you felt naked because there was no 630 Club, well, you might feel really barren come the fall. So sign above and use your resources. But anyway, Oracle one more time. Looks pretty good. Oracle, I would say, hey, you could be long versus 138. See if it takes out 148.70. Decent little trade. Would you look at levels to buy MU? MU is really tricky right here. MU and memory is like a battle. Right now, it was clean. It was clear. Then you had this head and shoulders pattern, hit 737. I've been playing MULL a few different times, where, again, I felt like I was going to get killed. And I didn't, thank God. Like Thursday, Friday last week, we were buying a dip, and thank goodness it came off lows. I actually going to probably get rid of it today just because on Friday, I thought it was going to ruin my day. I'm short some $1,100 puts. I'm like, hey, I think SanDisk put a low in post earnings, and then it scared the bejesus out of me on Friday because I'm like, sugar on the iced tea. I'm having a great day. All of a sudden, SanDisk might implode, and I'll be long the stock where I don't want it. So I have a feeling I might just take that off because I don't want to be bothered. But if you're long MU, I would say, hey, you could be. This would be my trade. I'd say you're long it verse right here. You could be long verse 827. If it holds 827, you're cool. Breaks 827, get out of the way. That's your stop. And if it's going to get better, and if this group gets back in play, it's got to get above and stay above 930. So, and that would kind of blow out this right shoulder that some people are short against, and that would be like a fast move. For me lately, I've been trading MULL, and I'm still in MULL. Just be a little careful. Why did it take me 27 years to get disciplined with my trade selection and risk management? Some people it takes 5, some people it takes 20. Listen, I've been doing this since 1998, and I'm learning every day. I'm adjusting every week. I still make some decisions that I wish I didn't do. I still wish sometimes someone knocked me on the head, didn't have me adjust in the morning, and I would have been fine with my trade. So it's a work in progress, Joey. So listen, just take it what it is. If you're good now, hey, have some appreciation and some gratitude. Maybe you needed to find the 630 Club and learn a process. There are guys that I went to the Wolf Financial in-person festival last Monday. Guys have been, watching my stuff since the Mark Haynes days. But anyway, it was good to see all you guys. Good job, Gavin, the crew. But anyway, get it done. Let's get it done today. CBRS. Okay, Allison. Good morning, Allison. CBRS. Let me guess. All right, look at this. This was an IPO that wasn't priced right. This was an IPO that failed the first day. It's looking a little bit better. It's under accumulation, right? This has been public now for a while, since May. So you have May, you have June, July, August, so 3 months. It should be giving you a little bit more of a backbone here as you see a base develop. So if I were to frame this trade, I'd say you could be long verse 201. Should not break 201. If you think this is going higher in the next few weeks, it should not break 201. And then if it wants to get some momentum, it's got to get above this 245, which again is a big range, or above here, which is 231. Looking better, looking better. By the way, let's just take a quick look at NVIDIA, because NVIDIA was a great trade for us last week. NVIDIA's been working higher. NVIDIA, I was in shares, I'm in options, and I'm still in shares and options. It would be nice if it could work its way back towards 232 to 236, had a nice gap up here. So if you want to frame this trade, which I will do for you, you could be long versus 216 and let it work towards the old highs. Wouldn't that be fun? All right, guys, 6:54. I'm only allowed to do the 20 at the 6:30 club for 20 minutes. I've already done 24. It's Monday. I will be in my seat all week. All week, we're going to be stacking days. And I will do an extra 6:30 club on Friday for those who subscribe above. And once again, if you want to be grandfathered in, subscribe above, $10 a month. It's not so bad. If you trade for a living, what does that cost you? Nothing. Anyway, and if you don't, and you just want to tune in the morning, I would recommend that. If you want to trade all day long and make a lot of money, Alpha Team is for you. These guys were navigating the market the last few days without me and seeing positions and helping each other. So it's always good to have a community. Make sure you have a good community. Make sure you have good resources. And if you're at your desk, make sure you're planned. The worst thing in the world is sitting at your desk in August instead of being at the beach or in the mountains and losing money. You might as well go spend it at the bar. Spend it with a, getting a Red Dog sandwich, not feeding the trading gods because you're not prepared. But if you're tuning into here, chances are you have a good morning routine, a good morning process, and you're on your way. Just like Joey, it only took him 28 years. Goodbye, guys. I got to go do 40 charts for the Alpha Team, and I'm going to go play a little. I'm going to play a little 80s rock, and I'm going to turn it on at 7 o'clock this morning. Not CNBC, not Bloomberg, not Fox, which I do think they're fine. I've been on all of them. Every one of those channels I've been on a bunch of times. But for me now, I'd rather do my charts. I'd rather listen to music, feel good, and just make good decisions in the moment that are relevant for today. Not last week, but for today. Have a good day, guys.